Long ago, a king had 7 sons. 4 of them would lead long, fulfilling lives, but 3, to their misfortune, would die when they become 15. But they had a choice. The sons could give up their lifestyle and become monks, a way to lengthen their lifespans. The desperate king took up the offer and sent his sons away to train as monks. 3 years later, they would make their way back home again. Their mentor warned them not to go into Gwangyang, the realm of the dead, before sending them off with rich linen and silk. Naturally, the sons ignored the wise advice and succumbed to their weariness and desire. They stopped at a house in Gwangyang, owned by the Gwangyang Singh couple. They only had plans to rest, but the manipulative wife had different ideas. She offered the princes a strong, intoxicating wine, and murdered them by dousing their ears with scalding oil before dumping their bodies in the nearby river. Strangely, a week later, 3 of the most beautiful lotus blossoms floated down the same river and ensnared the curious wife's attention. Gleefully, she snatched the flowers up and took them home. The flowers were hostile and unlike any other plant she ever seen. They would start to lunge and attack her whenever she dared to approach the blossoms. Fed up with them, she tossed them into the fireplace, forgetting the soup she had set earlier. The wife soon fell pregnant with a pair of exceptional triplets. They were gifted and extremely smart, receiving the highest scores in exams, tests of literature and language issued by the state. To celebrate their success, the family had held a ritual to Munshin, the door god. As they bowed, the sons dropped dead. The king was curious. Why and how did 3 of the most talented boys from the same family die during a ritual? Irritated at the wife's lack of will to discover the reason and intrigued enough to state his curiosity, the ruler dispatched one of his generals to the underworld to capture Yarama, the god of the dead. His wife aided her husband as the best she could. She offered the gods sweet rice cakes and gave one to her husband. She also gifted him a green robe with a needle in it, along with a red piece of paper with white writing. Gangnam wandered the kingdom, not knowing where he should go to find this death god. He soon found an old woman to which he offered his rice cake. The woman was the goddess of fire and earth, and to return a favor, she gave him directions to the underworld. When he reached what appeared to be the end of the road, it suddenly split 77 ways, each leading into a different fate and destiny, and in front of all of them, an old man as old as the woman he met before, sat chewing at his own rice cake. Munshin, the door god, was the other god his wife prayed to. He told Gangnam all about the trails that laid ahead. The last one he pointed to leads to yours. It's the trail of Gangnam the mortal. Pleased, he thanked the god and hurriedly went on his way. The trail led to a large lake filled with spirits that whined and moaned, trapped, unable to cross over to the spirit realm. As they spotted Gangnam, their eyes clouded over with irresistible hunger that plagued them for eternity, as they did not have anything to eat at the lake. Terrified, the general threw his cake at them and lunged for the water, fearing for his life. He was swept away by the water, and when he emerged, gasping, he was in front of a gate, the entrance to the underworld. Yamura was attending a godly feast when Gangnam appeared. He destroyed all of his 30,000 soldiers and 60,000 servants, with 2 sweeps of his sword. He captured the death god with a steel chain. Yamura made a desperate attempt to buy himself time by inviting the general to the feast. The host refused to offer him any wine, which enraged Gangnam. The death god took the chance to escape. When Gangnam remembered why he came here for, he searched with no avail. Yamura was hiding under the table. Not the brightest idea, but Gangnam had no idea where he was nonetheless, until a passing goddess outed him by muttering how stupid the general was. Fearing for his life, the god reluctantly promised to help the sons, swearing by writing his word on the general's back. They returned to the mortal realm by following a white hound. When they reached his house, he found his wife performing a mourning ritual for him. Gangnam had been gone for 3 years, albeit that it was only a few days for him. His wife had already a suitor who wanted to marry the widow, Kim Sabang. Sabang was a manipulative man that fears that the general had returned, so much so that he told a lie to the king. He has been living with his wife for 3 years, he hissed, disobeyed the mission he was sent on, and lived in luxury. Gangnam's immediate capture was ordered for treason. Meanwhile, Yamura was looking into the death of the triplets. He had asked his wife to dig up the bodies for him to examine. When they dug into the graves, they discovered nothing in the coffins. Flabbergasted, the couple searched in the riverbanks, where they found the prince's bones. The god returned the sons to life and turned the shocked and denying pair into mosquitoes for their heinous acts. Yamura wasn't done. He had a score to settle. He demanded the king to give him the general. When he refused, he offered him an ultimatum. Either he can hand over Gangnam's body or his soul. Hesitantly, the king agreed to give his body away, preserving his soul for Gangnam to become Yomora's Josung Chasa, the Reaper of Souls.